What's up, guys? Welcome to Dank Shrine. I'm sure you are all asking yourselves, who the hell is this? And you probably actually know who Falcon Paladin is. So he's below me. He's a YouTube streamer, and he's recently gone and started doing some other things on Twitch. But actually, you're asking this about me. I'm Duddles. And yeah, we're here to talk about who the other guy is. But welcome to the show. Let's get things started off with episode 1 of Who the Hell Is This? Falcon Paladin, how the hell are you?
I'm doing super great. Thank you, Duddles. I really think the viewership does deserve a little bit of time of you explaining who exactly you are. I think they'd be distracted by that while you're trying to explain who I am. But I could be wrong about that.
So wait, are you saying that I should describe myself a little bit, or is that?
Well, the question everybody has is who the hell is Duddles? And I just think if you're going to do this for the first time, people are going to be like, who the hell is this guy? What's different on my Dank Shrine? And you should actually give them a bit of that information, is all I'm saying.
That makes sense. That does make sense, and I appreciate that. Yeah. So I'm Duddles. I have done some tournaments in the past. I have tried to dip my feet into the Starcraft community. And it's gone somewhat successful. It was more of a time constraint thing. I wasn't able to keep up with doing the monthly to bi-weekly tournaments and stuff. I was putting $20 to $40 into these tournaments, and it was great, but it just wasn't really for me. Not that I wasn't good at casting or that I didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't realistic for me and having a kid and a family and everything on top of a job, trying to go to school. It's hard to do. But I wanted to find some other way to break into the StarCraft community, not necessarily for attention on myself, but just to help it out in other ways, do some, get some recognition where it deserves. And I came up with this idea. Toast happens to be a friend of mine on the internet. We hung out in DreamHack Austin as well. And so he said, hey, well, I'll go ahead and produce you if you want to do the show on Dank Shrine. And here we are. So I just really lucked out. It's good to have good friends, good to have good memes,
Incredible story. Also, what's with the guitars?
Yeah, I've been playing guitar my entire memorable life. I think it started in 5th grade. Been in a couple bands and stuff, and I have just collected. So there's more on the floor and stuff too. I've just collected a lot over the years. It's a good backdrop though. Some people get a green screen. I'm just might as well just show off the room.
No, it is. They're awesome. I want all of them. It's way better than my background, which is here's a chair, and there is a shelf that people correctly identify as being from IKEA. Hey. All the time. They're like, yeah, that's an IKEA shelf. Yes, it is. Well done.
Are there are those records or anything back there that you have?
No, it's all books. It's basically music books. My wife is an opera singer, and so this is also her practice room, and so she's got a ton of music down there. Mostly is what that stuff is.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's a good segue for this. So before we get into all the nitty gritties of what you do in StarCraft and why you'd be on a StarCraft show, tell me a little bit about you as a person. So I mean, you're married, and I know a couple of the answers to these questions already, but let's let the crowd know. So where do you live? What sort of thing do you do for a living? What are you interested in? Some hobbies? Just
Yeah, short bio. Here we go. When you said I had a kid and it was hard for me to stream, I was like, oh, yeah, that's very true. So, yeah, I'm married. I've got 3 kids. They are ages 10, 8, and 5 years old. And it's actually a lot easier now that they're all out of diapers and kind of independent. When they were infants, streaming just wasn't possible. But then they all got out of the diapers and it was okay. But, yeah, I live in the greater Salt Lake City area in Utah. I grew up here. I've lived in this particular place for about 3 or 4 years now. I work as a quality assurance for software. As a QA guy. So I test software for a cloud product for a company nearby here. I've been there for about 5 years, which has been a good time. And yeah, independent 3-year-olds, man. TBM is absolutely correct. And that's about it. I mean, I'm just an pretty average dude, I believe. I'm 6 foot. I have brown hair. I have brown eyes. There's not a lot about me that is super unique. And I realized that a long time ago.
Oh, so I think your entire fan base would disagree with a lot of that because you're leaving out a lot of personality points here. But not to kiss your ass too much. I'm as being part of that fan base. So QA quality assurance. Did you go to school for that or anything?
Absolutely not. I have a bachelor's in communications with an emphasis on print journalism. And I got this in 2008, right when the economy was doing super well. I'm sure everybody remembers those days. And I said, okay, it's not doing well. The print industry is kind of struggling, but I can find someone somewhere in the United States of America that will take me. And it was really hard. And I did find someone, and they paid me $11 an hour and had no benefits whatsoever. And I said, oh, maybe I need to get back into the tech industry, because I put myself through college doing tech support, and it was paying better than what I was being offered for these jobs where I had a bachelor's degree. So I hopped right back into tech. I worked for Apple as a genius for a couple of years. I did some tech support for other smaller things, and then hopped on over into the software QA side again about 5 years ago.
Right. So, I don't know if you know, but I'm a software developer by trade.
So we are enemies.
We would probably not get along at work, or get along swimmingly. I actually really like the QA guys that I work with, even though none of them are software oriented. They still they're operations QA, but they still every once in a while just decide to just hop into software, and they start talking about things that they have no clue what they're talking about. But it's okay. It's okay. I wish we had a software QA guys just so I could butt heads with somebody, but also when I release my code, it wouldn't suck.
That's kind of the idea. I was going to say, too, the devs that I work with directly are awesome guys, and they work very hard to make sure that they don't make me feel stupid, because they're much smarter than I am. But they're very good, very, very good to me, and I try to be good to them, too.
We're all very smart. Please let everybody... TB Ham's in here, right? Do you hear that? Software devs are smart. That's
so smart.
Donald's is a smart guy. Cool. All right, so let's talk. So you have a communications degree. I think that really does stand out. I know personally, whenever I watch YouTube and I go to people who are actually still currently putting out a frequent supply of YouTube content. I mean, you have Loco, Winner, and Falcon Paladin. And I'm sorry, I know I'm leaving people out. There are other people who do it, but those are the three. If I search Starcraft 2 right now and I want Legacy of the Void new content, those are the three names that come up.
I think I'd tack Pig onto there too, but it's not a long list.
Pig. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Pig does a lot too, and obviously, and there's a lot of other people, but the thing that makes you stand out is you clearly have you're just the way that you're very well spoken, very well. You obviously read, that comes out a lot whenever you're casting, not just on material, but whenever you talk about people's names, right? And that's one of my favorite things is just, anytime you're introducing in your cheese videos, it's some random silver player who has a cool name. You're hey, this guy is from this book, I believe. I always get a kick out of that. But what got you started in that? What made you start actually getting into casting StarCraft games?
All right. That's a good story. Okay. So I love Brood War. I was a huge Warcraft 2 fan back in the mid-90s. StarCraft came out, was announced. Me and my friends were super stoked for Warcraft in space, basically. We all went to Target the day it was released in 1998. We bought one copy, brought it home, burned 7 copies of it, so we could all play with each other over LAN for the rest of the night. So I didn't actually buy a copy of StarCraft for a couple of years, but I bought it about 8 times since then, so I think I've given my money to Blizzard on that one. But the StarCraft Brood War, I've played that consistently since. I don't think I've gone more than a month without firing up StarCraft in some way or another since that time. StarCraft 2 was announced. We'd been waiting forever for StarCraft 2. I couldn't believe it's actually going to come out. It'd been a decade or more since Brood War was released. And I was like, I got to find stuff about the beta. I got to find how this thing looks. And I just went on YouTube and I Googled up and I found Husky. I found Husky StarCraft. He had access to the beta. He was posting videos and I got hooked. I got hooked on gameplay. At the time, I didn't know that there was an esport around StarCraft at all. I thought it was just something that dudes played together. I didn't realize it was so huge in Korea as to be effectively the national sport. And he opened my eyes to the fact that there were professional players playing Brood War, now getting into the StarCraft 2 scene. And I just fell in love with him, with HD, watched a ton of his stuff. Cy Starcraft was one of my favorite guys, just a salty Zerg player who really hated everything, but he was so entertaining. And really just spent my lunch breaks at work, my evenings, my mornings watching those guys and keeping up on everything that was going on. And then one by one, they all dropped off. They all disappeared off the face of the planet. Husky left, HD left, Cy stopped uploading. And I said, well, where will I go to get my StarCraft content? And I said, you know what? I have a computer, I have a microphone, I have apparently some video recording software on my PC. Let's give this a try. So back in March or February of 2015, I sat down, did a quick test record of, I think my first video was Hearthstone actually, because I wasn't sure if my computer could handle StarCraft and recording first, but I decided just to try it, and I wasn't very good at first. I sounded very tentative. I sounded kind of bored. There was no energy whatsoever. But over time, over the last 2,000 casts, I think I've generally managed to find my voice. And that's what got me started in the world, was just that void that was left by those huge YouTube casters. I said, well, somebody needs to step in and fill that, and why not me?
That's awesome, man. And I know as somebody else, I really appreciate you doing that. That's fantastic for everybody who wants that. I mean, as somebody else who should be working at work, but instead I'm just hopping on YouTube and looking at some Starcraft content. Like I remember just being kind of heartbroken when Husky left, and I know it's a sore subject for a lot of people who are in the Starcraft community. They're like, stop talking about Husky, and I get it, but I mean, it's like the Green Day of punk rock. Like, hey, we all started there. Most of us are into it because of this guy being really funny, and we all played the game. Maybe we were in Brood War. But I thank you so much for doing that consistently, because now, A, it's something for me to watch, and B, it's something that people still have an opportunity to be bad at the game. Not by bad, I mean like, hey, I'm not a professional GM player, and be able to send replays to somebody to get casted that actually will have viewership. And that's the coolest thing. That's like what makes StarCraft such a good game, and it separates it away from Counter-Strike and PUBG right now, and so many other games that are just blowing up, is that you have people who can cast your games and actually get viewership of it. That opportunity that you provide people, I know it's very appreciated, and I think more people should be subbed to you, because I think it should be an even bigger deal. So you're a Zerg player, right?
I am. Yep.
Why Zerg?
So StarCraft came out, and I think the first race that I tried was Terran, obviously, because that's what it is, the first level of the campaign, obviously. But then I messed around with Zerg, and I just fell in love with the macro aspect of the game. I just loved that I could go build 6 hatcheries, expand 1,000,000 times, get a ton of workers, flood my opponent with mutas, and win. And that was it. Like, the first time I did that, I was like, all right, this is the race for me. This is where I live. And that's been my play style. It's been to the detriment of my micro, in that I really am not great at micro, but my macro abilities are pretty good, and I think that is why I belong with the Zerg.
Right. So I also recently switched to Zerg, and I it's literally for the opposite reasons. It's because I want to end the game, and I like to end the game within 5 minutes. So
see, that's the difference, though. When Zerg first came out for StarCraft 2, it was very defensive. It was very much like you defend, you deal with the drops, you deal with the attacks, and then you basically starve your opponent out, or then you can crush them in like 15, 20 minutes later.
Right.
But Legacy of the Void has definitely given a lot of ability to Zerg to end the game in the first 5 minutes, like you said, but for a long time it just really wasn't possible. There was the era of the Baneling bust and Wings of Liberty, but Terrans figured that one out pretty quick. But other than that, it's been very much attack in the middle of the map, defend. When you have a huge army, you can go. But yeah, the Ravager, Roach, Baneling attacks, the Drop Lords for a while were really nice. So I can see people switching to Zerg to try to make the game end a little bit sooner these days.
Rest in peace, Evolution Chamber, Drop Lord. That was... how do you play against Terran without it? Because if you want the game to last less than 10 minutes, I don't understand, but whatever, that's okay.
Proxy hatch, honestly.
Right. So you did mention Husky being kind of like the caster that got you into it. Do you have like a favorite caster currently in the scene?
Who do I love watching? Okay, so this is funny. So I knew Pig was doing basically subscriber challenge videos, right? He'd issued a challenge saying you can only A-move your units or only make this particular one, and people would try it out and send him the replays, and he'd cast them. And I knew he was doing this, and so I checked it out a while ago, and he does them like the Aussie Man Reviews. Have you seen the Aussie Man Reviews videos?
Yes.
He does it and I knew he was Australian. I knew Pig's Australian, but he literally goes into Aussie Man Reviews mode for these things. He zooms in. He's all sorts of making fun of everybody, and it's incredibly entertaining. So if I want to pull somebody up on the YouTube, it's probably going to be Pig, or just go to the Twitch stream and find him there, because that kind of stuff is hilarious.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And WCS guy, he does a lot of the major events too. If you guys don't know who Pig is, I mean, just why? How did you find this channel?
Yeah.
No, he's fantastic. So that's good. I think the Aussie Man videos too. One thing about Pig I don't understand is or I guess this is more of an Australian thing, is why did they make the word no so complicated? Because most people, they're like no, he's like, but like especially if you hear him say it, he's like no, like.
couple extra syllables in there, or vowels.
Like,
yeah,
four vowels and ends with an R. I don't get it. It's N-O. Now, it's fantastic. Hey, we got
Hey,
by the way, if you guys don't know, Toast is quiet, but he's here. He's my daddy right now, and you can quote me on that. You can clip it. You can have him say he's my daddy. But he's running production for the show. So yeah, thank you, Toast.
Got Somicron in the chat, fellow Aussie. So he's here to defend No.
No isn't complex, mate. I actually heard you say no. Funny story, totally tangent, but I worked at an Outback Steakhouse for years, like 7 years. And so we'd always answer the phone, and I would like work as a to-go server, and I'd be like, "Oh, good eye, mate. Thank calling the Outback Steakhouse in Houston. My name's Jason. Glad you could call." People were like, "Oh my God, are you really Australian?" I'm like, "No, they make us answer the phone like that."
We have to go through a week of Australian accent training.
Right. Like it's just that's why I got picked to do it, because I can do a horribly campy, hokey, awful, generic Australian accent that doesn't actually sound like a single Australian person ever. But yeah. Well, cool. So you live in Utah, right? I don't know if I covered that yet. Utah.
I mentioned it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why Utah?
I don't know. So there was that study a couple of years ago, probably closer to a decade ago now, though, but basically said people generally grow up within 30 miles of where they were born. Yeah, I live exactly 30 miles between the hospital I was born at and the house that I grew up in. I'm like right in between those 2 points on the map. And I don't know. It's just how it worked out. I mean, I don't know. I went to school in Idaho, BYU, Idaho. And jobs up there weren't that plentiful. My wife wanted to get a master's degree. There weren't really any options up there. She wanted to go to the Salt Lake Valley because there were some options for postgraduate education. And so we moved down here and we did some house hunting. We looked in several different parts of the valley. My family is here, and it just seemed like an affordable place to be. I like the seasons. I like that there's winter and fall and spring and summer. A lot of places just kind of get one thing all year round, and that drives me nuts. The change is great. And it's a good place to live for tech as well. There's actually a lot of tech jobs here. More companies coming in all the time. Amazon built a facility here. We've got Adobe just kind of down the street as well. Wow. And so if I ever do lose this job or looking for something else, there are so many options. And so that's really nice too.
Cool. I had no idea Utah was a place for tech. I thought that it was just a place that had some like salty lake or something. I don't really know.
It sure does. That is accurate.
Yeah. But that's just my ignorance on geography and anything that happens in the United States outside of Texas. But I think that just comes as being part of that's part of just being a Texan, right?
Oh, what part of Texas are you in?
I live in Northeast Houston. I have to specify because Houston's so gigantic, and I don't live anywhere close to Houston really. I work in Houston, but it's literally 33 miles away from where I live. But yeah, it's I was born in a place called Cleveland, Texas, which is hilarious because it's Cleveland. So, it's like people from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm like, oh, I'm from Cleveland too. It's just slightly different. The population is just a little bit less where I was from, but
slightly.
Yeah. But it's really nice. 3 hours away from Austin. That's like the best part of living in Houston because you don't have to live in Austin, but you can be close to Austin. It's great.
Proximity too. So I attended a wedding in Houston about 5 years ago now, and it was in August, and it's the most humidly sticky, gross I've ever been in my entire life. That's what I know about Houston. And your freeways are hot garbage.
Oh yeah, big time.
Okay,
so bad. There's one of our highways has been on construction literally the entire time I've been able to drive.
Sounds about right.
It's been, and that was like almost 16 years ago. So yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, man. Cool. So one thing that I've noticed, let's get this back into some Starcraft stuff. So I know you started with Brood War, but lately I feel like you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you somewhat recently, started actually streaming Brood War matches. Yep. So how is that going? And what's your competition, if you want to call it competition, on YouTube content for that?
Okay, so that's actually pretty funny too. All right, so what happened was I'm looking to see the date of my first Brood War cast on the channel because it was actually a while ago. Let's see if I can figure this out real quick. I have a playlist for it, so this shouldn't be too hard. All right, it was not gonna. Oh, this is scintillating. This is amazing. Why are these not in order? I don't know. Anyway, I feel like I've been casting Brood War for a couple years now. A little bit kind of here and there. I didn't really have a schedule for it. I just really love the Brood War and figured I'd just try casting it. It got some pretty good reception from the subscribers, but not a whole lot. And so I kind of stopped and pulled it up again once the Starcraft Remastered client came out. And I said, okay, so this is great. I want to let people see what Starcraft looks like in kind of an updated, more HD type capacity. And it got a really great response, actually, to the point that if you look at my most viewed videos, I think 3 of the top 5 are Brood War casts at this point. And so, I mean, now I'm going to get fact checked on that. Where's my thing? Where's my top list? It's at the bottom of my main page. Yeah, Brood War. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that was fairly accurate. Yeah, so that is actually what's getting me a lot of attention on the YouTube these days. So the interesting thing, you ask what my competition is, and the answer is, as far as English casting a StarCraft Brood War Remastered, not a whole lot. To the point that some people come to the channel and say, I'm only here because you're the only English caster of Brood War that I can find. I kind of hate you, but I'm watching anyway because it's Brood War and you speak English. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's a view. Like, you're here. I can't really complain too much, but
right, still counts.
It still counts. And the other weird thing about casting Brood War is that all Brood War fans have been watching Brood War be cast for 20 years now. Mm-hmm. And the people who are casting Brood War, Taste Toastus and Day 9, etc., have such an encyclopedic knowledge of the game that anybody who doesn't have an encyclopedic knowledge of the game is not going to measure up and is not good enough to cast the game that they love so much. And so I get more criticism on my Brood War cast than I ever do on my StarCraft 2 stuff. And I really just think it's because that's the bar. I think they expect a lot from anybody that casts the game. And I'm improving and I'm learning a lot, but I'm not quite there yet. But you know what? I welcome comments because YouTube considers any kind of a comment a positive as far as they're concerned. And so if you want to give me constructive criticism or even non-constructive criticism, I will take it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. That's super exciting. I need to check more of those out because I Brood War is such. I literally I 6 pool, you know, and I play Brood War like I play StarCraft 2. So it's not. I don't really have definitely don't have an encyclopedia knowledge of it. Quite frankly, I'm still I played Protoss my whole life, and I still have literally never built some of the units in Brood War, even though I played the game for years. But there are units that I've never built.
Well, I mean, Reavers are hard to use, man. They're slow. You have to get good shuttle control to make any use of them at all. And I can totally see a player being like, "Screw it, never making those guys."
I have made those.
Okay. All right.
TV Hem says, if you aren't GSL quality, you can fuck off, and obviously you're useless. That's true.
That's the mentality. Yeah, it really is. But yeah, like I said, that people come back. If you search Brood War on YouTube, I think my stuff is the first page or so. There's a lot of stuff out there as far as Korean casts, which people are cool with, but I think some people want to watch it in English as well. And that's where I come in. And to be honest, it was entirely accidental. I did not start casting Remastered because I was like, oh, there's a market inefficiency here. I can see a way to provide something that people aren't getting. I just did it because I love it, and I was really interested in the Remastered client and the reboot here. And it just kind of worked out that way. So I'm pretty happy to see that.
Right on. So who's do you have a favorite Brood War player?
Oh, man. Favorite Brood War player. I mean, as a Zerg, it's probably going to be Jaedong.
Yeah.
His Dark Swarm control is ridiculous. You watch other players and you're like, I can see what they're trying to do. I can see how they're trying to be Jaedong, but they can't because it's really hard and it requires a lot of APM and a lot of control because otherwise your units are squishy and they're going to die real fast to a Protoss. Dark Swarms have to be perfect. Lurker positioning has to be really good. You've got to be flanking with Lings. You've got to be macroing back home on your 7 bases, and it's really, really hard to pull off, and he's just the best at it.
Yeah, he's insane. He's one of the first people I ever got into, and I was actually in StarCraft 2 because he played StarCraft 2 for a little while. I remember, I forgot what it was, but I watched Husky do one of his replays, and I was like, this guy's just... I mean, like, how do you have this kind of control? I just don't understand. I mean, some of those people are just on a different level. Brood War players are insane. Flash, Polly Womple, asks if y'all seen the Larva replay beating Flash with Queens. I bet that was insane. I don't even know how that works. How do you beat Flash at all? And especially with flying Zerg units, which are not very good in Brood War.
Well, that's the thing. I've seen a Zerg player try to go Queen against a Terran, and you just spawn Broodlings on their tanks, right? You can insta-kill their tanks with 150 mana spell, spawn Broodlings. So, in theory, it's great, but it's really, really expensive, and it takes a lot of Queens to consistently be killing the tanks as they're popping out. And it didn't work. It didn't work for the Zerg player, whoever it was. And so I am shocked that Larva managed to do it against Flash. And especially if they're going bio. Like, if Flash is going bio against your Zerg, I cannot see how Queens are of any use at all. Unless you're picking off the medics or something. I'd like to see that, Polywompo. Send us a link.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Please. So that sounds amazing. And maybe you can even get Falcon Paladin to cast that game, even though we know how it ends. But let's sneak it in there somehow. Cool. Do you have a favorite StarCraft 2 player? If I haven't asked you that, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep an itinerary here, but
yeah, no, you haven't. Favorite StarCraft 2 player? Who do I love to watch the most? Okay, all right. Here's my thing. As a Zerg player, I've had several favorite Zerg players over the years, but it seems like they either disappear or get busted for match fixing. Like Fruit Dealer back in Wings of Liberty was awesome. He made Baneling Rain viable against Terran. He was everywhere. He was aggressive. He was incredibly good at all aspects of the game. He wins GSL and then disappears off the face of the planet. Like, I don't know where that dude went. And then there was Life, who introduced these crazy 3-base Baneling busts against Terran, because Terrans were not making tanks at this time in Heart of the Swarm for some stupid reason, crushing everybody in WCS events. And then he gets busted for match fixing. So it just feels like there's this ongoing list of Zerg players who I just fall in love with, and then they go away from my life forever. I've got major abandonment issues. But today, it's probably Cyril, just because I'm amazed at what he's able to do, who he's able to beat as a foreigner from... I'm going to mess this up. Is he Finnish? I think he's Finnish. I'm asking you to fact check me, and you're not helping me out here. Finnish! Done!
Yeah, okay. I think, yeah.
Nailed it. I have the hardest time with the Scandinavian players, because, man, all those countries are the same to me, and it's incredibly American of me to say. But anyway, Cyril, he's just... And I have a very specific way I like to see Zerg played. I like to feel like there's an overmind behind it who's able to do all the many things Zerg needs to do. The creep spread is consistently great. The flanking is consistently great. You get 360 surrounds, you get drops, you defend. All the things are happening simultaneously, and that is how Zerg is supposed to be played, and he can do it, man. Cyril is scary. I like him a lot.
Yeah, and I met him in person. No big deal. Got a picture with him. After he won WCS Austin, he came out and I was standing in line to get a picture with Mana, but he was a swarm because of his, fantastic. Even though Cyril won, he was clearly the fan favorite performance was Mana. He had 15, 20 people waiting in line just to talk to him. So I was standing right by the backstage of the event, and Cyril hops out with the statue. There was an announcement, and I was just standing right next to him. So I was like, "Oh, I'll get a." It was kind of like I feel guilty because at the time I was like, sure, I'll get a picture with Cyril." Then I was like, "Wait a second," and he even asked me, "He's like, do you want the trophy in it?" And I was like, "What? Of course I want the trophy in it." What kind of question is that? And then as I was taking the picture, I was like, "This is incredible! I can't believe that I'm actually getting a picture with freaking Cyril. Like, this is great." But yeah, that guy, he's really cool. He's really humble in his own way. He's a great player. And he's kind of becoming the bad guy in StarCraft, though.
Yes. Well, and that's the crazy thing too, is I've been casting Cyril pretty much my entire StarCraft casting career, and he was always like a guy. He's a European Zerg. He's okay. He never wins WCS circuit events. He never kills anybody who's great. He's just around, and he's fun to cast, but nothing crazy about him. Ling control is always very good. He was always very good at Ling harassment, so I appreciated. But then all of a sudden, he just went up another 10 levels in StarCraft and just started crushing everyone. And I want to know what he did. Did he drink some power serum or something? I just can't figure it out. But did he do the Korea thing?
Yeah, I feel like he did it.
You're right. And that's it, right? All you got to do is go to Korea. You'll drink the water. You'll experience Korean sunlight, which is different from other sunlight, turns out. And then you'll just go home and crush all the noobs. That's what happened with Special. Scarlet had a stint where she was killing everybody after living in Korea, and now Sarah's the latest one.
And Neeb, yeah.
It's nuts. Neeb too. Yeah, for sure. There's just this ongoing list. And I'd love to know what it is. Is it just you go to Korea and you develop the discipline, you spend 16 hours a day playing StarCraft, whereas back home you're just playing it for 8? I don't know. Somebody needs to figure this out. We need to get somebody from the Dank Shrine to uncover this mystery.
I think a lot of it has to be, I mean, because they're not just living in, it's not like they just go and get like, an Airbnb in Korea for a while. Like they're living in a StarCraft house, which they don't have in America or Finland or, these other places. I'm sure that they definitely have them in Europe. I don't quote me on that. I'm just assuming. But yeah, and as Kasai says, it's a ladder environment. I assume it's hard to play 100% with latency to Korea, right? So you get to actually go with regular latency, play on Korean ladder, but also you're in a house with nothing but people who've been playing on Korean ladders with you and live in Korea, and then they also get every once in a while hang out with Korean players. So it's
like a sink or swim type thing. It's like either you take it up a level or you just die.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole time you get to hang out with No Regret too, which I mean is probably could be a lot of fun,
Sure.
He's a goofy dude. I like that guy. His stream's hilarious. Play better, get better, says Toast. But yeah, I think I got a little derailed with that one, but that's good. So that was a fantastic answer. Thank you. But on the topic of Neeb, so War Buffalo. I think just War Buffalo, I'm sure. He's a Psystorm player, guy who I've been a fan of. I think he's won some platinum tournaments and stuff. Really, really nice dude. He asked me to ask you, what do you think of our God Neeb? Because he's a Protoss player, obviously, and also from Texas. So I think he's from Texas. Sorry if you're not War Buffalo. But American Protoss players typically worship the guy, so what do you think?
I love Neeb. Neeb's great. He seems like a good dude. His Protoss is impeccable. He's won a lot of great matches. I didn't think he was going to win. He had a best of 5 against Rogue, I want to say, at a couple WCS events ago, and he did it so well, so much better than I thought he was going to against Rogue, who's real scary and real good. See, I'm afraid to get attached to Rogue because I'm like, where's he? If I start loving him too much, where's he going to go? Something bad's going to happen to him. But
something horrible is going to happen to his family, apparently.
Yeah, that's what happened with Fruit Dealer, apparently.
Yeah, super sad.
Super sad. Anyway, Neeb is great. I love American representation in the StarCraft. I like Puck for that reason, too. I just feel like, I don't know, there's 300 million people in America. Like, you're telling me we can't get 2 or 3 Neebs? I'm not asking for, like, a whole team. I'm not asking for us to win BlizzCon. I'm just asking for American representation to be less embarrassing. That's all I want.
Well, so the difference, I think, is how many times if you were to go out in public and say that, I'm sure this happens to you because people are like, what do you do in your spare time? You're like, oh, I'm like the most popular, at least one of the most popular YouTube streamers for StarCraft. Like they're like, okay, people still play that game. It's like the culture and the mentality, to esports in general, and also especially to StarCraft and RTS games, is so much different in America. We want just people to be explosive and fast, and like PUBG is everywhere I go. Actually, in Fortnite right now, I have a 9-year-old nephew who was all like, "Oh, you play video games? How many Fortnite games have you won?" I was like, I've played the game twice. So it's
fine.
Yeah, it's all right. I like it, but that's not really my game. I play StarCraft, and he's all like, I don't understand what the hell is StarCraft. And I'm like, you poor kid, what's happening with this generation? I hate it. But I mean, that's in Korea.
It is. In Korea, it's the national sport. And yes, I agree. In our lifetimes growing up, esports have not been a thing. I didn't know it existed until I was mid-20s. So yes, but I do feel like it's on the rise. I feel like ESPN's trying to lend some legitimacy to esports. They've got their NBA 2K league that they're sponsoring to the tune of like $300,000 in their prize pool. So that's really big. I think Overwatch is pretty big. I think League of Legends, Dota's been pretty large as well. I think the rising generation honestly might care more about esports as a whole as compared to ball sports. And that's going to be really weird for our generation to see, but I really think that's where it's going.
Do you love the conversation people have where it's like where somebody says literally, and they'll be wearing like their favorite sports jersey, and they're like, why would you watch somebody else play a game? Do you ever get that one?
I do, but the answer to that is honestly that basically you're watching other people play a game when you're watching football or baseball.
Exactly.
So, right, which kind of weirds people out. I'm not sure they've thought about it that way. But I don't know. I've experienced resistance comparing esports, like playing Madden to playing football. But I don't know. I just think that the older generation's mentality is kind of set in stone, and the rising generation is kind of more open to that.
Right. And I think it's really cool the direction it's going. So, TBS even has a show where they, I forget what it's called, but they started off with CSGO. Now they're doing Street Fighter, and I think they do Dota. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on the Dota part, but I know I've seen this. Like I was recently watching the Street Fighter one, and just because it was on, I was watching like Conan or something, and it came on after that, and I was like, I know nothing about Street Fighter, but I was watching it and I was like, hey, that dude has a Rise jersey on. Like that's a North American team that I thought that was just a Starcraft team. I didn't know they did other sports.
Yeah.
Overwatch was on the Disney Channel today, says Flosky. I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's getting more and more acceptance. I think too, a lot of the discussion, because I love ball sports. Let's just make that clear. I love football. I love basketball. I watch baseball when it's playoff time. I'm all about the ball sports. But if your kid is going to grow up either playing football with a good chance of getting some brain injuries and tearing an ACL versus playing Fortnite or Overwatch or something where maybe they'll get carpal tunnel, I feel like player safety is a huge reason to go with the esports as opposed to the ball sports that are a lot more dangerous in certain ways.
I love that right now the stream, the men and women are on equal footing. I don't really know what Toast is pulling up. That's fantastic. I don't know. It's probably some relevancy in the conversation before, but it just went to something else. That's great.
Well, but it does. It totally does. Because if you're playing football or basketball, men have some natural biological advantages over women in both of those sports. We have separate leagues for men and women because of that reason. Esports, you don't need that. You can have men and women competing side by side and against each other in anything that requires a keyboard and a mouse or a gamepad because there's no inherent advantages that men have over women or vice versa. It really should even the playing ground, even though most of the players doing this are dudes. There's no barriers for women to come in, at least not at a competitive standpoint.
Right. And that's in that Street Fighter show I was watching, I mean, there's like, and every single time I've seen it in the quarterfinals or something, there is a girl, there's a woman. And she's like, all the dudes are terrified of her. So it's good to see that, and that's, I wish we had more of that in StarCraft, not just because I like to watch girls play, whatever, because that may come off really weird, but honestly because there's no reason that it's a dude thing, except for it's just like guys are typically more interested in this sci-fi nerdy crap, you know, versus but
that's it. 100%. No, I interrupted you. I apologize. But yeah, that's it. It's just interest. It's just dudes like playing Halo and girls aren't interested in Halo for the most part. I mean, that's a generalization, but I don't know. Hopefully we'll see more participation. Yeah.
Right. So Kasai says, is this episode 1? I feel like I've heard of Dank Shrine before. So yes. So Dank Shrine is Toast. Toast has this has been his baby for a long time now. He's interviewed, like, if you've heard of somebody in StarCraft, they've probably been on Dank Shrine. However, right now with Scythe Esports blowing up and being such a good team, he has priorities all over the place right now. I'm not saying that's why he asked me to go on the show. He's actually here. He can confirm whether that is or not, which, I'm just going to say it's because I'm so important. He needed somebody to take over his baby. But really, it's... Yeah, he's just hosting this show. So it's the first episode of this show, which is kind of like, if you consider Dank Shrine to be like a TV channel, it's like I just got my show picked up by this channel. So it's like I just got, Friends just aired their first episode on NBC because I'm going to be, Friends level with this show. But that's what it is. So
100%.
Yeah, this is the pilot. Yes, I appreciate you asking that. So I want to talk about your Twitch stream. It's something that I think it's weird, and I don't mean to be insulting because I'm not in any way, but it's weird to see somebody who has, like, how many followers do you have on YouTube? Let's look that up really quick.
Creeping up on 25,000.
25,000. How many people watch your stream on average, do you think?
Oh man, like, I'm happy if I get 16.
16, right. Yeah. And that's I feel so weird that like well, honestly, I kind of like it not because you're not getting the attention that you deserve. So I don't like that. But I like it because I can hop into your channel and I can you'll respond to me. It's not just this flood of like text where it's like I know guaranteed if I ask you a question, it doesn't matter. I can just be like, what do you think about the political situation in Czechoslovakia? You can be like, I'm not sure about that, Duddles, and that's great. But what's really what my segue is here is what are your goals with this? What do you want to get out of your Twitch streaming, and what kind of games do you want to do? Like, let's just talk about your Twitch stream for a little bit.
Okay, yeah, Twitch. I set up my Twitch channel back when I started this whole thing back in 2015. I just got the Falcon Paladin name and applied it to everything I could think of. So I've had the Twitch stream. Haven't used it all that much, honestly. Again, did some Hearthstone early on with it, but really wasn't getting the viewership. I felt like I was getting more of a reaction from YouTube, and so just went there solely for a really long time. And so, yes, definitely trying to get the Twitch thing, trying to get it rolling, I guess. Part of the reason being, we mentioned this previously, Twitch just does a better job at giving the viewer a way to financially support the person they're watching right now. Right? It's easy to see. The bit system makes a lot of sense. There's donate buttons you can use. You get recognition for it as you do it, which I think is really big. I think people like getting recognized for throwing bits at people, which, hey, if it gets them happy, it makes me happy too. So that's part of it. The other thing is I am kind of trying to branch out into different games a little bit. I was doing some Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 5 streaming on the Twitch a couple months ago. Didn't really get a whole ton of reaction, but I am trying to kind of spread out with some additional content there. I'm still doing the daily posts on YouTube, so the people who are on YouTube don't have to worry about losing content there, but just devoting more of my time to try to broaden my horizons. Been doing some World of Warcraft stuff, which I've been playing that on and off since about 2006. And with the Battle for Azeroth coming up, I figured maybe I could get some interest there as well. So just kind of dinking around, trying to see what works. And again, it's just a way for people. The other funny thing is a lot of people will come up and say, oh, you have a face. I've been watching your stuff for 2 years, and I had no idea what you look like, and it's kind of weird, actually. So the Twitch is a way for people to get access to a face cam for the Falcon Paladin, too, if they're interested in that stuff.
Right. And so, sorry to segue, but Somicron, thank you so much for the 500 bits, dude. Really appreciate it. Super nice. Speaking of bits, that's really great. Really appreciate it. Helps support the stream. I think it's really cool. I was also one of those people the first time I saw you. I think actually I saw you on Gauntlet. It was the first time I saw your face. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll actually we'll segue. We'll go into Gauntlet in a second. But so have you ever thought about doing like playing Starcraft? 'Cause I know you play the campaign right now, but have you ever actually thought about like laddering on your stream? Or have you before?
I've done that a tiny bit. I've played a couple games on stream. The thing there is, it's hard for me to play and cast at the same time. Mm-hmm. Starcraft, I mentioned him previously as a YouTube guy. He was good at it. He could macro, he could multitask, he could scout while complaining about balance. And I have a harder time talking. The more the game goes on, the more I'm just like hunched over and staring, and I'm not saying anything for minutes on end. And I just don't feel like that's a very good stream. I know some people roll that way. I get it. But I just think people need to come for the commentary, and that's why they like the Falcon Paladin.
Right.
So as far as laddering goes, it's not something I'm totally interested in doing, but maybe when I'm done with the campaign for Legacy of the Void, that will become my new StarCraft content on the channel. Don't know. Thinking about it.
But I love that you say that, because seriously, this is anytime you log into a Twitch battle and there's somebody who's or like you not a Twitch battle, but you log into somebody's Twitch and they're just in like a crazy micro battle. Even Pig, like I don't know who it is, they'll have the same face as this.
Yep.
And it's great, but I mean, there's people out there like, I mean, Starkiller's new to it, but I mean, he was just a natural. I don't know how that guy does it. It doesn't matter what's going on. He's just so laid back, and he's like, oh, it looks like this guy has, so he has 15 carriers. I guess I'm just going to make some hydras really quick. Okay, this engagement's not really good pores. This isn't really what I do. I'm just going to go ahead and hop right back. And I'm like, are you sure you're playing the game? Like,
that's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's like his first time to ever stream. It was so cool. But I mean, like literally, I just had a situation last Thursday. I was streaming off a whim, and Loco threw me a host. So I had 300 people watching me play StarCraft, and I am bad at StarCraft. So what I did is I had the wrong overlay up, so I was playing a game and talking about it, and they're just looking at my face. And then B, they all like these 300 people just got to enjoy me losing 8 games in a row, and me like missing, like trying to look at. I've never had my chat flow like that before. Also, like, what? Who are you guys? This is. I'm so sorry that you guys just started watching. A GM player who's so good at commentating while he's playing to me, which is just a dumpster fire of a streamer. And it was crazy. So I totally get it.
When you're just trying to be a good Twitch streamer and like recognize the people who are giving you new follows and like responding to stuff, but they're just going so fast. Yeah, that's a good time.
Sure. I missed a subscriber. It was horrible. It was just, the whole thing was a mess. But so what rank are you in StarCraft?
Diamond 3.
Diamond 3.
Yeah.
Oh, so I might actually. We need to play. I say we need to have a show match.
Are we competitive? Are our levels fairly similar?
I currently have Diamond 3 MMR, yes.
Excellent. Well, fantastic.
With every race. I'm just saying, no big deal. But
are you? Actually, really? Yeah. That's impressive. Seriously, people that can do all 3 races, especially like at GM level, but even just at Diamond, honestly, that's killer. That's really great.
Right. To be fair, it's not like I actually play the game. Again, with every single race, I'm just trying to end the game in 5 minutes.
What you're saying is show match.
Yeah.
Watch the 4-minute cheese.
Yeah, it'll be a 15-minute best of 5. No, but yeah, it's I'm terrible at the game. That's good. I didn't know you were Diamond 3, so that's awesome. I feel like the way that you commentate and your knowledge of the game, I would have pinned you for at least Masters 3.
Well, see, knowledge and ability to execute are 2 different things. It turns out.
GM in chat, Diamond in the game. It's how I am too, right?
Pretty much everybody's that way. Yeah.
Right. So let's see here. Let me check out my itinerary really quick. I have knocked out. You've answered some of these within. So I'd ask like one question. You answer 2 of these. It's really awesome. Okay. Yeah. Big one. All right. So here's a good segue. You wrote a book.
I sure did.
Okay.
The book. All right.
So you wrote a book. I'll link it in chat here. Delete. Please ask Mozzie for posting a link. I'm not a mod in this. This is great. That's fine.
Your link. There it is. It's on the stream. Hooray.
That's so good. Okay. At least I'm not like banned or anything. Thank you, Toast.
Have a timeout.
That's one of the things that I was trying. Look, for the past week, I would like take a shower and I'd be like, man, I really need to make sure I need to get this done before the show starts. This done. One of the things I was like, I should probably ask Toast just to get mod privileges so I can post links, and I never asked him, so that's my fault. Also, I was like, maybe I should just subscribe to the channel too, which I'll do in a moment. But because why wouldn't I be a sub? But okay, so yeah, you wrote a book. It's called Time Traveler Patient Zero. Tell me about what made you want to start writing a book, and just tell me about the process and the book itself.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to sound really prideful here, but I'm really good at writing. That's like the one thing that I've never struggled with. Always been able to do it super well.
Familiar.
Sit down, hammer out an essay, no big deal. So I tried to get a career in writing, right? Communications, print journalism. No, not possible. Making a good living writing in 2018 is not great. So I'd always kind of thought about writing a book, but I didn't really have the patience for it. I always liked writing kind of short form stuff. And I was like, a book's going to be several chapters at least 4, and that just seems like too much. And so there's a yearly event called NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, which you might have heard of. And one year it was coming up, and my wife kept asking me, are you going to do it this year? Because she did it the year before and really loved it. And I was like, you'll be great at it. And I said, I don't know. And then I had an idea. I was like, oh, okay, this opens so many doors. I have an idea of something that I'm interested in and something that I want to write about. Because previously, it was this amorphous concept, write a book. Well, what is that? About what? I don't know, just write a book. Like, that didn't interest me at all. But I got, out of nowhere, out of the blue, an idea sprang into my head involving time travel. I normally hate time travel in books. Time travel creates paradoxes and loopholes, and it screws up storytelling, and I hate it with the fire of 1,000 suns. But I came up with a way to use time travel that doesn't ruin things, and decided to write my book about that. So this was prior to starting the channel. I believe this was fall 2014. No. When did this come out? I don't know. It was before the channel, though. And so National Novel Writing Month came around November 1st. You write 1,600 words every day for 30 days. You just hammer it out. Just do it. So I sat down after the kids were in bed, put on actually the Ender's Game soundtrack, which had just come out on Spotify. Because for some reason, I tried some other soundtracks in there. I tried Lord of the Rings, tried like Star Wars and some Inception stuff. But it turned out that was the one that worked for me. It just kept me in the zone, kept me focused. And I hammered it out. It's 1,700 words a day for 30 days. At the end of the time, my book was done. I spent a couple days after writing a bit of an afterword and doing a lot of editing and polishing. And that was it. So I don't know. I kind of feel like if I have an idea, it flows out of me in a way that didn't feel like I was pushing. It didn't feel like I was straining to make this thing happen. It was just like you have the idea. Ideas would just kind of follow in a tail, in a chain after that, and it just kind of worked out. So it was really fun. And people ask if I'm going to do it again. But the thing is, with the Starcraft channel, with the YouTube channel and the Twitch, and I've got 3 kids now, and I don't know. I don't think I have time to do it. I'd have to abandon one of those things, and abandoning my family is not really an option at this point in time.
Well, I was supposed to say, you know what chat's gonna say. Just get rid of the kids.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Pretty easy.
Right. Yeah. It's exactly the dilemma that I had with casting. Right. It's super easy just to pick that. Right. It's totally an option.
Yeah.
So for anybody who hasn't read it yet, I have to give my honest opinion, and it was if I didn't know Falcon Paladin, I wasn't a fan of his channel, it still would have been a great read. It wasn't super long, which I did have. I'll be honest, it's not that it left something to be desired. I just wanted more of it, because it was just the writing style was really good. I really liked it. It was very pleasant. Really read well. It just, it's one of those things where it's like you feel like it's a conversation that you're having, and it's just fantastic. But I mean, for like less than $8 on Audible, it was a steal. Like such a good book. Buy it. Go listen to it. It helped I think I finished it in like 4 or 5 days, but my commute for about an hour and a half to and from work. So that's why I was able to do it so quickly. And also, I'll be honest, I listened to it. So instead of watching Twitch that week, I was just listening to an audiobook at work, which I was very productive, I promise. But no, it was absolutely fantastic. Oh yeah, dude, an Officer Bradley book. That's a character. That's Officer's name in the book, right? Yeah, he was a fantastic character. I would love an Officer Bradley spinoff. Just even a short story about him, that'd be fantastic. Because what a good guy, right? I like him.
That's the idea. Yeah, I mean, one of my major goals for writing the book was good characters and a good conversational, easy to get through reading style. So I like that you talked about both of those things, because that's what I was going for sure. Good.
Well, you nailed it. Obviously, I'm definitely not a fan of this guy at all. So right on. So I think I'm out of my questions, and I already asked one of my questions from. I asked a couple people. I didn't get as many responses as I thought, but that's also because a lot of people know who Dankshrine is. Not very many people know who Duddles is. So one sec. Let me pull up one thing really quick. I have a ton of questions from Somicron.
Of course.
And I don't understand. My favorite one. I'm just gonna read one of his real quick. First, this isn't the first question, but why are birds?
All right, so real quick, Somicron is actually my podcast co-host. I do a weekly podcast called the Falcon Paladin Hour. Me and him talk about Starcraft and other stuff for an hour. Just search Falcon Paladin wherever fine podcasts are found. That's why Somicron sent you a ton of stuff, because he's my dude, and we talked about it on the pod, actually, the one that posted today. So people hopefully are aware of what's going on here. But he said he was going to send in 1 million questions, and I figured he would. And I'm glad to see that he came through with that.
He absolutely did. So actually, but that's better right now anyway. While I'm pulling this other stuff up, please tell me about your podcast. I can't believe that that I forgot about that.
No, you're good.
Because I have listened to it, and it's really cool. It's really, again, that's another thing at work whenever I'm actually being productive, because I can still. It doesn't require my full attention because it's a podcast, but it's definitely really cool to listen to. It's free, guys. This is free. Podcasts are free most of the time.
Super free content.
Yeah. So yeah, tell me about that. About your podcast.
All right. So Falcon Paladin Hour started because one of my Australian subscribers named Somicron, who I used to call S.O. Micron or something like that. He emailed me and said, dude, you need a podcast. And I was like, I mean, I guess if you want to set it up and do all the work, we'll do it. And he was like, sure. And I was like, all right. So that's the story of how that went down. Started the podcast that way. It's pretty conversational, pretty casual there. We do talk about Starcraft, current events there. We talk about movies and TV shows. We devoted an entire podcast to big movies like The Last Jedi. We had a whole episode about that. Infinity War, talked about that one. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Incredibles 2. So just movies that we're interested in. We'll go back and forth, do a review on that, kind of talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. And then just about current events. I mean, it's pretty much anything goes. It is really just a really random sampling of stuff. We do skew heavily towards sci-fi things, interesting news and science and technology, video games, movies, and TV shows. So if you like that stuff, it's probably something you would be interested in.
Yeah. My personal favorite podcast that just to give some fans is if you're going to look it up for the first time, whenever they talk about the Infinity War. Fantastic one. Some of the theories you have about Loki and all that, which I think is actually that has carried over to like 4 other podcasts. It's like I think in 4 years, it's like y'all have some bet going. I'm pretty sure. And
we do. Somicron is convinced that Loki is dead for sure, dead, never coming back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think he's full of crap. He's completely wrong. Oh, we do need a link for the Falcon Paladin Hour. Honestly, just search it on your podcast app. If you listen to podcasts and you just add a new feed for Falcon Paladin, it'll pop up. Or that works too. It's also hosted at the Abyssal Trip, which is Somicron's website. But it's kind of hard to remember to go there. Honestly, if you're using Apple Podcasts or anything on Android, it's totally available. It's out there.
Right.
But yeah, bottom line, Somicron thinks that Loki is dead, and I think he's not, because Loki is a trickster god, and for him to die in such an obvious, stupid way makes no sense to me at all. I refuse to accept it, even if I'm wrong. But we'll see. We'll see if he comes back.
Right. And just a quick, since we'd already knocked this question out, TB Ham asked, did you used to cast SCV Rush? I feel like that's a thing I may have a memory of, and I didn't actually copy the rest of the question. You said yes.
Yeah, so the first live casting on Twitch I ever did was with SCV Rush. And it was for a fairly short period of time. I kind of decided that live casting wasn't necessarily for me at that time in my casting career and just went back to YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah, and I guess just following that along, we mentioned that previously, but I do cast with the Gauntlet SC2 every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that's just a global open championship. There's a $100 prize pool. Half of that's actually sponsored by the Falcon Paladin Hour, so there's some weird intermingling going on there. But we get players like who's showed up here recently. Loziera's been there. Scarlet, Nebush showed up. Snoot has done really well in the tournament. And just a lot of upcoming GM players, too. A lot of NA stuff, EU, Starkillers around quite a bit. Some young players. Future of Terran, a 15-year-old Terran player, has been playing a bit, too. So if you want to see some...
Is he only 15?
Last time I checked, he's very young. Might have been 16.
I thought he did WCS stuff though.
Future of Terran?
Yeah, I thought he was 16 at least, or 17. But I get him age-wise. I got him and Starkiller mixed up a lot because I think that they always ended up playing each other, and like Proxy Tempest tournament finals. It was just like always Future versus Starkiller at the end, and I feel like in like 3 of them in a row. So I just got them mixed up, and I was like, "Hey, one plays Zerg, the other one plays a Terran, and they're both cool enough to talk to me." So, so I appreciated that. So in Gauntlet SC2, how did you get that gig? Like, when did that come about?
Okay, so that came about because the organizer of the Gauntlet, C-Tone, contacted me out of the blue through Gmail, my business contact, and said, "Hey, you want to cast for us? I'll pay." And I was like, "Sure, I'll cast your things." So I did some stuff, boy, when was this? 2 years ago or so with Bobby Awesome. We did some things, but their schedule they wanted to change it to more of a daytime schedule, and I have a 9-to-5 job. And so it just did not work out for me, and I just bailed at that point. And then they came back and they said, "We're starting a new thing on Sunday nights. You want to co-cast it with Just Jordan, who's a cool dude." And I said, "Well, Sunday nights I'm free. I can do that. I don't ever have work then. I can commit to that." And so just decided to hop on. And so once a week I'd cast live StarCraft with a co-caster, which is very different from casting replay StarCraft solo. But it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
How is it for you doing it live versus, where you can like go back and edit, like, oh, hey, I just called a Zergling a Dogling or something, and go back and.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
So number one, when I cast from replay, I don't watch the replay in advance. I go into that thing blind. I like being surprised along with the viewer as to what's going on. And number two, if I screw something up, I just keep it rolling. I don't have the time to go back and edit my video to make myself look good. So as far as live casting versus casting from replay, they should look about the same.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned.
Good. That's a pride. I felt some pride in that, and I like that. It's like, no, you're going to get what you get, buddy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is I've kind of been trying to break into more live Starcraft casting, and a response I've heard is like, well, do more live casting and less replay casting. And I'm like, it's the same thing. Like, it's happening to me in front of my eyes. I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm reacting to it exactly like I would if it was live. I really don't see what the difference is, but I kind of understand where they're coming from.
If WCS or I'm sorry, like Starcraft or anybody were to come to you for a position or to just one event, would you do that? I was trying to think of some fancy word to say, but
yeah, like I'd get the email or I'd get the phone call and I'd do a happy dance where I was and be very, very, very excited about that opportunity for sure. Like that is one of my dreams, is to cast a major WCS event, wherever it is, whenever it is. I think it'd be a lot of fun for sure.
Right. I personally think you'd be able to do that just fine. I think with especially like the meshing and the personalities out there, it's not like you would take away from anybody or you would mesh well. I mean, some of those guys could literally cast they could literally just get like a turtle and just sitting on a camera and they'd be able to do a good job with them. Yeah, Jeff would bully him.
Jeff bullies everybody. Like it's not. I wouldn't take it personally. Let's just say that. Jeff's been killing. Who's Jeff been killing? Rotterdam, I feel like, recently.
And Artosis, too.
Oh, man. Yes, for sure.
He's been very... he makes fun of Artosis' age quite a bit. It's pretty funny. And Robbie, too. Yeah, it's Fear Dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, Fear Dragon. Yep. Cool.
So right on. So yeah, I've got Gauntlet. So all the things that I wanted to add to the list, but I guess I forgot to, have also been taken care of. This is good. So 29 Coast asks, where did you get your name?
Oh, okay. So I decided to start the channel, and I said, oh, crap, I need a name. I can't just go by Brandon, because that's boring. And so I decided to go with a combination.
Just Brandon.
Just Brandon. I mean, I don't know. Could have rolled with that, I guess. But I went with Falcon because that was my call signal. For all of the games I played on PC back when I was a kid, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, Terminal Velocity, Descent 2, they asked for your pilot's name, and it was always just going to be Falcon. That's just made sense to me. I really liked the bird. So I rolled with that, and I said, okay, Falcon's a little too generic. Let's go ahead and add something on there, and decided to go with Paladin just because that's my World of Warcraft main is a Paladin. I've always kind of identified with the archetype. I just really enjoy playing like the defender of the weak and the defender of those who are oppressed with like while smashing stuff with a hammer. So that is where that came from. It's a bit of a mouthful. Falcon Paladin is a lot of syllables, but I feel like it's recognizable. I don't think I get confused with anybody else, and that's kind of the main goal.
Right, and then like if Facebook started selling pancakes instead of books, they would be FP. So that's it works too. So you have that going for you. That was a bad IHOP joke. I'm sorry.
That is gonna happen. Okay, I'm watching for it.
Man, I don't know if I want to read all of these Somicron questions, but I do at the same time. So these are I'm just going to go into some meme stuff. So why is 3 times a day too many times a page your girlfriend?
Oh, he said he'd ask that one. I wasn't sure if he'd actually do it. All right, this is a fairly long story. I'm going to make it short. Back when I was 18 years old, very young and very stupid, there was a girl that I was so in love with, just absolutely crushed on so hard. She happened to live 4 hours away, which was a problem. So this email was around, but it wasn't huge yet. And we didn't have phones because we were young and long distance was expensive. So she had a pager. I don't know why she had a pager. In retrospect, I feel like she was probably a drug dealer.
I was going to say, that's only means one thing.
Yeah. And so she gave me her number. And so when we spent a weekend together down at her place, and then I went back up to school, up at college as a freshman at the university. And I did this thing where I would call the number for the pager, and then you could tack on a little code at the end, right? Because you could page the number and then have like a 3-digit code, which you could use for like emergency or call me back or whatever. So I had a code that basically just meant I'm thinking of you. And so I texted this girl morning, afternoon, and night for about 2 months before I realized that she was totally ghosting me. So I'm fairly sure I screwed up that relationship just by being a little bit too needy, a little bit too crazy, and learned a definitely valuable lesson as 18-year-old Falcon Paladin.
I was about to say, was this before or after getting the communications degree?
This was definitely before, 100%.
Did you learn specifically in your course content to not do that, or is that just
I mean, there was an interpersonal relationships class that was part of the core curriculum that did kind of cover similar areas of human relationships. I learned a lot in that class for sure. So yes, I'm done.
All right, this next question I don't think makes any sense, but I'm just gonna read it as he gave it to me. So, why does he without pets from his kids? Seriously, 3 small kids and no cats or dogs. WTF?
Okay, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We don't have pets. We've got 3 kids. We have no pets. We don't have a gerbil. We don't have a bird. We don't have a dog or a cat or anything.
Withhold is what I think he meant. Sorry, but
I think so. Yep, that makes perfect sense there. Bottom line, I believe the story we tell the kids is you guys are enough trouble as it is. If we add a dog to the mix, that's a lot more responsibility. You got to feed the dog. You got to walk the dog. You got to make sure the dog doesn't eat your slippers. And kids are pets. There you go.
Kids equal pets. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just in a responsibility, logical setting here. And the best part is the kids are like, no, we'll take care of the dog. We'll feed it. We'll pet it. We'll take it on walks. We'll clean up its poop. No, lies. All lies. Children are liars. I was a kid once. I know that kids are liars. So they don't get pets.
Right. If you were to get a pet, what would it be?
Somicron's going to love this answer, but it's probably a cat just because they're the lowest maintenance of all the major animals. I guess fish is technically lower maintenance, but taking care of a fish tank is more work than taking care of a cat, I think. Depending.
It's an absolute pain in the ass. Okay. It's horrible. Cat's so much easier. Cats take care of themselves in every way except for food and litter. And that's it. And yeah. Chicken, says somebody. But says cat 00000000000. I may have added one or left one out. It says chicken. I don't really. It's weird that somebody with the name Cat would say chicken. Laura says also, have you heard of pets? Also pets.
No, absolutely not. Are you making stuff up? I feel like you're making stuff up.
Like, is that like a pet for your pet? Because I think that exists.
Oh, so like a dog with a pet turtle or something.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds cool. Not interested, but sounds cool.
Right. Okay, so then Somicron asks another question where he misspells the word color. He adds a U in there. I don't understand.
He just can't spell.
Am I right? No. What color are tennis balls?
Wow, that's actually a really good question. I mean, they're kind of like a yellow neon greenish. My dad played tennis a lot growing up, so he always had tennis balls around.
Okay.
You guys aren't casual enough. It's a Neopets.
You guys are casual for Neopets. I played with Tamagotchis. Thank you so very much.
Tamagotchi Master Race.
Yeah, I'm an old man. So, okay. Are you aware that Zerg as a race requires no skill?
I am, and that's why I played it, and that's why I chose it. So here's the thing. Zerg for a long time kind of sucked, right?
Yeah.
They weren't that great through Wings of Liberty or Heart of the Swarm. That's why these players like Fruit Dealer and Life were such a big deal, because they made it work. And now Zerg is really good. And so it kind of hurts. I guess, to be clear, my mental state when I'm playing games is I need to be able to die. I need to feel like I am at risk of something. And so that's why I play stupid decks in Hearthstone. I don't like playing the really overpowered ones that have a good chance to win, because that feels boring. So I played Zerg because it was hard. And I think part of that is because if I lost, I could blame it on the fact that Zerg was underpowered at the time, and it made me feel better. But now that Zerg is really good, if you lose, it's like, oh, what is wrong with you? You lost with Zerg and Legacy of the Void now? What's your damage? And I don't have an answer for that, and it's kind of a problem.
Right. I mean, like, if you're playing against Protoss, you just Zergling rush them, and you can beat, like, Masters players. It's fine. But okay, so have you ever have you ever been on a boat?
Yes.
Okay. That's a good answer. I like that. Let's go on to the next question. Okay. Are you comfortable answering emails after hours and on the weekends?
Oh, what are we? Okay, so 9 to 5 job? No. My 9 to 5 job, when I walk out of that office for the day, I am done. You don't call me. You don't email me. I am of no help to you at all. Completely shut that off. But considering my other job is the YouTube channel, if you want to email me, at 9 p.m., that's when I'm YouTubing. And so, yeah, I'll probably respond to your email at that point. No problem. Yeah, those people, like I have coworkers that are constantly on call, constantly working 24 hours a day. And I look at them and say, you cannot be happy doing this. Like, this is not good for your psyche long term.
Yeah, I with my current job, it's actually like I'm asked to be on call pretty much 24/7.
Oh, there you go. I was talking to you.
Yeah, but if anybody calls me after, I mean, like if they call me at 6, I'll answer because it's obviously like, hey, the server crashed. I need some, or like, hey, we have like an order because I work in logistics. So they're like, hey, we have an order going out, but like we don't have this data and it literally needs to go out today or we're gonna lose like $600. It's going to take me 5 minutes to pull up what they need. I don't mind. But whenever they're like, send me an email for a request to chat about adding a new feature to something, I'm like, yeah, that can wait till tomorrow. Like, why are you calling me at 7:30 at night? That's I'm just not going to answer that call.
See, but even the fact that you can see it is just not good.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't respond, it's still messing with your brain. It's still putting you in that state of mind. Those people need to learn boundaries.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
So why would a hot dog split as it expands?
Literally no idea. Never thought about it. Don't care about it. I don't do physics. I don't know. Why is everything expands when it gets heated? That's your answer. It's expanding.
Hey, that's a good answer. That's better than what I would have said. What's it like to work with Chris Evans?
What? So I don't work with Chris Evans. That'd be pretty cool if I did, under some capacity. He seems like a cool dude. I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay, so actually, I just want to say, I want to quote this to Samacron. I'm putting this in quotations because this is what he sent me. He spelled color right this time. What is your favorite color of socks to wear?
That's the whole thing? Color of socks to wear?
Yeah, what is your favorite color of socks to wear?
All right, so I'm going to be honest. In the summertime, I wear flip-flops to work and no socks. I haven't worn socks in like a month.
That's outstanding. So no socks?
No socks is what I prefer. If it's cold outside and I have to wear socks, I think they are brown. I think I have brown socks. It's been a while, though.
Okay. I like that. I feel like there's some innuendo here that we can make about you not wearing socks. I don't really know what it is. But,
we can go weird with it if you want, but no.
Somebody's excited. See, damned autocorrect. It autocorrects you to the correct way of spelling it. Hey-o! All right. How long into the Australian citizenship process are you?
I'm on step 4. I sent them my designs for a new didgeridoo. I have memorized the Australian national anthem. And I'm working my way up to being able to box a kangaroo. They need video evidence of you beating a kangaroo in a boxing match within 3 rounds or less. I'm kind of working my way up there. I'm boxing humans right now. Kangaroos are much better at this than we are. So I think once I can start consistently beating people, kangaroos will be next on the list.
Right. This shows how much I just focus on logistics. When you said box a kangaroo, I was like thinking of like packaging it.
Oh.
I was like, what?
That's a lot harder than boxing it.
Yeah, that's an interesting requirement. All right. This is the last question I have, unless some people in chat want to throw some questions at me. So in My Hero Academia, who is the best girl?
Oh my gosh. Look. My Hero Academia is a fine television show, and those of you who insist on making it about who is the best girl or the best boy are really missing the entire point of the experience. I refuse to answer that question. All girls are best girls as far as I'm concerned, and all boys are best boys, and it's a great show, and I actually need to watch the latest episode tonight, so thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
Oh man, that video.
I know. I'm just watching that. Look at that. That kangaroo is not ready for that punch at all. Maybe this is going to be easier than I thought.
Right. You just need to find that kangaroo to be an Australian citizen in no time. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions right now. If I missed any, guys, I'm sorry. I'm new to this. I'm totally a scrub. This is the pilot episode after all. I just want to say, dude, thank you so much for spending the time and doing this show with me. It means a lot to me. It means hopefully a lot to the community, and I know a lot of your fans who are going to be able to watch this live right now, or going to watch this on YouTube later. We're going to appreciate learning more about you as big fans of your content and what you do, and your Discord channel and everything that you have. So thank you so much. This show means a lot to me. I intentionally wanted to get somebody with a little bit of a higher profile as my first interviewee. And I think you were the perfect candidate because you're not like WCS every single time, but you're also, but people know who you are and have heard of you. Even Artosis said, like, I've heard of this guy, Falcon Paladin, but I don't know who the hell Duddles is.
Yeah.
So that was nice. That's literally exactly what I was going for. And so you were perfect. And I really appreciate you doing this with me. So thank you so much. Do you have any plugs, any shout outs, anything that you want to make on the stream?
I do have a couple, but first of all, thanks for inviting me. It was a lot of fun. I was happy to do the interview, and hopefully your future interviews are just as awesome as this one has been. Very glad to be here and happy to come back sometime if you want. But yeah, you can just find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Discord. I don't know. If you want a link to the Discord channel, I think Somicron can toss one into the chat there too, but just Falcon Paladin everywhere. I'm pretty active on Twitter and Facebook, just posting updates there. So if you followed people before and they're like, they never do anything on that, why'd I bother with the follow? Give it a try. And that's about it.
Cool. Well, I think that wraps up the first episode of Who the Hell Is This? Guys, check me out next. My next guest is going to be Cyan Esports. It's going to be, we don't have a date set yet, but I promise you there will be an announcement. You can find those out on my Twitter, on Dankshrine's Twitter. So if you want to go to twitter.com/Duddles1, which is the worst thing ever to have a 1 in there, or twitter.com/DarkDankShrine. I called it Dark Shrine. Oh my God. I'm fired already. It's amazing.
Super fired.
You want to go to those, either one of those, you can get updates. You can get all sorts of information. You can talk to me. I promise you I'm not that busy. If you ask a question, I will answer it probably immediately unless I'm in a meeting at work or having a conversation with my wife. Or join the Discord, Dank Shrine. So I'm really looking forward to having more of these, and I do look forward to having you back because this has been such a better interview than I ever anticipated. So I really appreciate you being so easy to talk to.
You're very welcome. It was good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Awesome. Well, guys, have a good night. Thank you so much. Go watch GSL, and I'll see y'all next time.
Take care. Bye.